Good afternoon, everybody. We got a briefing from what was really a gang of 8. It became, I think, a game of 20. I stand here with our other chairman, Rick Crawford, of our Intelligence Committee, House Intel Committee, and Chairman Tom Cole of the Appropriations Committee. We brought the appropriators, the chair and the ranking member in and expanded the group to talk about all aspects of this. We got a great briefing, as you know, from the leaders of this, Secretary of State Rubio and the Secretary of War, Hegseth. John Ratcliffe was there, CIA Director, and of course, General Raisin Kane, Joint Chiefs of Staff. They gave us operational details. They gave us the rationale for what was done. And I was very satisfied with the briefing. It follows up on the original Gang of 8 briefing that we had more than a week ago, several days before the Operation Epic Fury began. I was satisfied at that time. I had, as I can speak for myself, as the leader of the legislative branch, the Speaker of the House, I had multiple follow-ups with the Secretary of State. I spoke with the President about it multiple times, and that was in advance of the operation, and we knew what was happening. I think there are two critical points that I just want to emphasize, the non-classified summary of what has happened here. First of all, to me, the most critical point is that this was a defensive measure, a defensive operation. And why is that? I took some notes, and this is not classified, so I'll tell you what I think is important. Israel was determined to act in their own defense here, with or without American support. Why? Because Israel faced what they deemed to be an existential threat. Iran was building missiles at a radical and a rapid clip to the point where our allies in the region could not keep up. As you know, Iran has long vowed to take out Israel, wipe it off the map, and they have long seen that as a critical threat to their very existence. Because Israel was determined to act, with or without the U.S., our Commander-in-Chief and the administration and the officials I just named had a very difficult decision to make. They had to evaluate the threats to the U.S., to our troops, to our installations, to our assets in the region and beyond. And they determined, because of the exquisite intelligence that we had, that if Israel fired upon Iran and took action against Iran to take out the missiles, then they would have immediately retaliated against U.S. personnel and assets. We have troops in harm's way, and we have many Americans in the region, and that was of great concern. If we had waited for all of those eventualities to take place, the consequences of inaction on our part could have been devastating. We don't know at what magnitude, but you can assume, because it is common sense, that if Iran had begun to fire all of their missile arsenal, short and mid-range missiles, at our personnel and our assets and our installations, we would have suffered staggering losses. And if we had waited to respond before acting first, then those losses would have been far greater than if we had done what we did. That was their decision. I can guarantee you this: if we had not acted, if the President, the Commander-in-Chief, had not acted as he did, those same officials would have been hauled in here by members of Congress and asked them why in the world they waited if they had exquisite intelligence, knowing that that would happen, that we would suffer such staggering losses. Why did they not act to prevent it? So I am convinced that they did the right thing. There's another critical point. What were the objectives? The objectives for our Operation Epic Fury, I am convinced, because I've now been to multiple briefings and I've understood the point of this, the objective was not regime change. The objective was to take out those missiles, the short and mid-range missiles, and their ability to produce them. We did that. That was objective number one. Objective number two was to eliminate their naval capabilities, destroy those and the missiles. And we are well on our way to accomplishing that mission. That is why I think the President has said, in his own words, the Commander-in-Chief has said this is going to be a operation that's short in duration. We certainly hope that's true. We pray for our troops and all those in harm's way, our allies as well. I am encouraged that our NATO allies are standing with us. The Arab states are largely standing with us, publicly, certainly privately. Iran was a great threat to everybody in the region and everybody in the world because it was an evil regime. The Ayatollah is no more. That was not the mission of the U.S. to go in and take out the regime, but that happened, and in my estimation, that is a great development for freedom-loving people around the world. Go ahead, Ray. Yes.
You guys discussed the need for supplemental munitions and other things that our military might need?
It was brought up in discussion. There are more details to be determined. Of course, it depends upon how long the operation goes and what the need is. But our appropriators certainly asked that that question. But I think there'll be some time before we can put a final number on it. So, you know my background. I'm a constitutional law attorney. I'm a jealous guardian of Article 1 and the legislative branch. My understanding of the law, and has always been, and this is the tradition and the way the law has been used and observed over many decades, the president was acting well within his authority. What I just told you is the scope of what happened here and the situational awareness that they had at the time to make this decision. It's not a declaration of war. It's not something that the president was required, because it's defensive in nature and in design and in necessity, to come to Congress and get a vote first. And if they had briefed a larger group than the Gang of Eight, you know, there's a real threat that very sensitive intelligence that we had, you know, might have been leaked or something. So this is why the Commander-in-Chief of our armed forces has the latitude that any commander-in-chief, any president always has, because they have a set of information that is sensitive, timely, and urgent, and they have to be able to act upon it. They did that. Now, there, as you know, under our system, there are timetables that are involved here, but I think the idea that we would move a War Powers Act vote right now, I mean, it will be forced to the floor, but the idea that we would take the ability of our commander-in-chief, the president, take his authority away right now to finish this job is a frightening prospect to me. It's dangerous. And I am certainly hopeful, and I believe we do have the votes to put it down. That's going to be a good thing for the country and our security and stability. The U.S. struck in a defensive posture if we knew for a fact. Oh, wait a minute. Let me answer the question. I thought I just did answer that question. If we knew for a fact that Israel was going to move, Iran was going to respond, and Iran was going to strike not just Israel, but the U.S. Remember, we're the great Satan, as they always say. Israel's the little Satan, okay? That they would act. We knew that intelligence. There was a name for the plan. We had all the information, all the intelligence. I'm not going to tell you how we knew that, but we did. We have the greatest intelligence operation in the world and the greatest military. And we had an obligation and responsibility to use it to protect our interests, our people first, our troops, and our personnel and our assets. That is an America First objective. That is the objective of the country. The first responsibility of the federal government is to protect the country and its interests, and that's what we did here. I don't know how it's different.
Congress has the authority to declare war. Shouldn't it have authorized this war?
In my view, right now, our military and the commander-in-chief, he is presiding over the completion of an operation that was limited in scope, limited in its objective, and absolutely necessary for our defense. I think that operation will be wound up quickly. By God's grace, it will. That is our prayer for everybody involved, our troops and everyone else. And, of course, for the people of Iran, who are now rising up euphorically to have a chance for freedom, to have an evil, murderous regime removed. It is a great thing and a great time in history, and we're proud to be a part of it. Thank you.